All right, so we got a little different show for you today, a little different episode. And for the last 6 or 7 weeks, I've been begging people to contact us. We wanted dialogue, and we finally have been receiving some inquiries, some questions, some topics people want to talk about, albeit being tracked down feels a little bit creepy for those, which is all of you that don't know. I'm almost impossible to find on the internet. I'm not on social media, but someone found me. I am on LinkedIn for professional reasons, but someone found me on LinkedIn. Someone else called me. So we've got some topics to talk about today. I didn't even bring Steph up to speed. So I'm Michael Barbaro. Welcome to For Real, and my co-host Steph.
Hello, everyone.
All right. So I've been teasing Steph with some of these topics, but I wanted the show today to be more conversational, so that's why I didn't give you any of the details. Right.
Looking forward to it.
Want to catch you. I want you raw. I want you to be your normal self. Moderate
a little bit better than that.
Yeah, a little bit better than that. So the first one is a woman named Jenna, and she said I can use her name. That's why I'm doing it. But she has a nightmare story, and she said we touched on this a little bit. And I mentioned that we're going to touch on topics, and then eventually we're going to have to drill down on them. Right? This isn't like I don't know, changing your oil in your car where it's a step by step. Right? This is dynamic at every step. The transaction, it has as many complexities as you can imagine. Every deal is different, and some deals are more difficult than the others. But here's her situation here. She had a situation. She's the seller of a house, and the buyer did a home inspection, and they had some requests for repairs. And the agent that submitted the request, the buyer's agent submitted the request for repairs, was a little ambiguous on what they wanted repaired.
Give me an example.
I'm going to try and keep it so no one can figure out who this is.
Okay,
But
okay.
I'll give you an example from one of our deals. But it's a very similar deal. Let's say someone says they want the air conditioner is not working properly, and before the closing, we want the air conditioner to be running properly. Our habit in our company is to make sure that is explicitly outlined, right? Who is doing the work? The work's going to be done by a licensed, certified, insured professional.
Provide the receipts.
Receipts, all permits are pulled. We're very, very detail oriented. Some people just say, get the air conditioner fixed. And in this case, and so we've had those situations, right? And the reason that we are so specific is because when you get to the closing, if it's not clear what's supposed to be done, and you've moved out of your house at the time of that final inspection, and the buyer elects not to close because of that, and we can't work out a deal between the two parties, Jenna is moved out of her house. She has not closed, so she can't buy her new house.
Right.
So she is living with
predicament.
family, but she's paying for all her stuff to be in a moving truck or had to be moved into storage, and so they're paying for this in storage, and now they're going on a week and a half. And so she said, what's her recourse? Like, what could she do? And this is why we always say, you can negotiate at a different level. You could say, look, we have a problem with the heating, the air conditioning, whatever the case might be. But you need to, when you put the pen to paper, when you put the agreement, it needs to be specific. I can't stress that enough. And it doesn't matter. We take the ball and we run with it on that case. And as you know, and if the buyer side isn't specific, we'll add specificity. We'll request that they add specificity. And so
what happened with Jenna?
So Jenna's case was this. Her agent, they thought that it was a little ambiguous, but the agent said, hey, that onus is on the buyer. If they want to be ambiguous, right? If they don't want to be detailed, it's not our problem. I don't represent the buyer. I represent you. It doesn't. We don't need to worry about it. So they get to the day of the walkthrough. Jenna and family and pets moved out of their house. Everything was in a truck. Left a nice gift for the new homeowners, and the new homeowners get there, and the repairs weren't made to their satisfaction.
Well, do we even, at this point, would you even know what their satisfaction would be if it wasn't detailed?
Yeah, right. And so, and clearly that's where the ambiguity came. And now it's a he said, she said.
Right.
It's a we were expecting this, well, we were expecting this. the details are so critical, and often people are turned off by some of the language, right? If it's a little too much legalese. But here's a situation where now you have a family that's living with family who says it's a very difficult situation because they have pets and their family has pets, and they can't go to a hotel because they have pets, and they really can't afford a hotel, and they don't want to run up their charge account because that could affect their purchase.
Yeah, I mean, I love my parents, but
Yeah.
yeah, a couple days is a good enough time spending living in their house.
Week and a half, under contract, don't want to go back on the market, need to close, can't stay there and figure this out, need to work out a deal, but both parties can't come to an agreement. They're trying to work it out, getting repairmen in this time of the year. It's difficult, right? We lost 3 or 4 days for the snow, and so look, there's their situation. So as we know, we always say the details are critically important.
Yeah, you say it like 17 times a day. Details matter.
Details matter. Tell my kids.
Yeah.
In fact, people mock me for it. All of you mock me for it. But this is an example of why the details matter. And so she's in an awkward position. It's going to get finished. They're ultimately the ones that are going to have to acquiesce on the negotiation because they have a seller that they're buying a house who's threatening to say, we're going to move on to the next party if you guys can't close. It's a quagmire, right? So it's just a terrible situation. So this is where I say participate in the success of your deal.
Yeah.
You can blame. I used to say it all the time, right? You could be able to blame someone, but if you know the answer, like don't take no for an answer. If it seems ambiguous, Jenna, and I told you this, you should have pushed for it. Yep. No, the onus is on them. Well, is it, right? And this is that situation. Is the onus on that person? No. The way we work in our company, and this is what you should be looking for in your agent, is someone who is going to facilitate that deal. There's this misconception that because I represent you, I just have to totally block out everything else and just focus on that, right? I have to agree with everything you say. I really, really need to make sure that the deal is smooth, the deal is harmonious, the deal is complete, the details are in there. We believe it is incumbent upon us to make sure that those details come, even when we don't represent that other party.
Yeah, well, I mean, it ultimately benefits your client when even if you are pushing back and saying, well, yeah, you can leave it up ambiguous, and then you're going to get to the closing table and be in this type of situation. We have we get a couple. On our listings, we get the requests and everything. We always push back and say, who's doing this? And, it just makes it a little bit more clear for everybody. Sometimes there's some things that sellers can do themselves too, like painting or something along those lines, fixing a window or something like that.
When we come back, I want to talk about one more thing on this. Then we're going to move on to the next horror story, which ends up in a lawsuit.
Oh, gosh.
But I just want to take this one step further on the level of detail. So let's take a quick break, and we'll come back, and we'll finish up with Jenna, and we'll move on to the next.
All right.
All right, we're back, and we're talking about Jenna.
Got one more thing to tell about her?
I do. One of the things we always request, or we try to request if we can get the approval of the other side, is what do you do in the event that the work is not completed by that date? Because we've all gotten there, and whatever work is supposed to be completed, even if it's detailed, it's not done, right?
Well, you were talking about the air conditioning, and you can't always test the air conditioning when it's cold.
Can't always test the air conditioning when it's cold. That could be one of those things. But even in a situation where we know what the repair is, we agree we're detail oriented. What happens if you get there and it's not there? I'll take something very simple, right? Fix the toilet. The toilet's leaking. Fix the toilet. We get there, the toilet's still leaking. Everybody is stressed out that day. The sellers are moving. The buyers are moving. We get to the closing table. The sellers want to give you $15 credit because that's all it's going to take to fix the toilet, and the buyers want a $1,500 credit.
It's a fancy toilet.
It's not so much in this market that we have right here, but there are ways to handle it. Look, repair the toilet by this date, provide us with the receipts. We like to get them 5 days before the closing, so we know that it's done. We really don't like to go into the closing. Some people say at closing, and we'll look at it. But if you're going to push it out to the closing date, push it out to the closing date, fine. But also put some kind of a a resolution in the event. In the event that it's not done, if you know that the repair is going to cost $200, make it punitive, right? If in the event that it's not done, you're going to issue us a credit at closing of $400, and now you don't feel so bad. You get your $200 to get the work done yourself, and you feel a little bit better because you got an extra $200, and you can go out to dinner.
Michael, something else that we see too is we'll get like just an extra check when we get to this walkthrough and checking on the receipts for the repairs. We always request that it shows that it's paid too, because sometimes they'll just send an invoice and then they won't actually pay it.
That's another good point. Yeah. So let's close up on Jenna.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. It's just circling back and completing the Jenna story is this. Details matter. Whether it's your side or the other side,
right.
It's incumbent upon you to protect yourself. It's incumbent upon your agent to protect you. So even though you think it's the responsibility of the other party, here is a perfect and unfortunate example of how someone not going above and beyond and saying, let's get this outlined, let's get this detailed, came around and really hurt their client.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
All right. So do you
have some more stories for us?
Yeah, Jenna and I became friends. Maybe in the future we'll be working with her. I don't know. Hopefully this sale goes through. Another story that someone asked about was disclosures. And yeah, we talked about disclosures. There are attorneys, there are agents, there are people in the marketplace in Connecticut that believe. So Connecticut has a required residential property condition disclosure. All sellers, with the exception of a few, there are a few exemptions. You probably know what they are. I don't.
I have a list, but not off the top of my head.
Right. Could be
probate,
trust, estate, something like that.
Yeah.
Might even be a foreclosure. The bank might not have it. But if you are an owner who's owned or occupied the property, you have to complete this document. If you don't complete that document, now that document is supposed to be completed and provided to a potential buyer, not the buyer, so not once you're under contract.
Right.
So
prior to going under contract.
Listen, all agents out there. Listen, all listing agents. It's critical that you get that done and completed at the time that you're taking the listing agreement, because the law provides, it's very specific. I know I've seen this law. I almost know the language verbatim. But basically it says it is your obligation to provide that disclosure document to a prospective party so that they can use that in helping their decision-making on whether or not they want to buy that property.
Right, to make an educated decision on what they want to do.
Right.
And what price they want to offer.
Correct. Right. It's all part of it. Material facts. What kind of repairs are we going to have to make? What do we expect? Now,
and we did talk about the disclosures. It's about 8 pages, and it's, a pain to fill out, but important. And I presume you're going to tell us why.
Yeah, it's important to fill out. And if you don't provide that in a timely fashion, there is a penalty. It is a $500 penalty that you will owe the buyer at closing. Now, I said that specifically because details matter. A timely fashion means it's supposed to be provided to the buyer before they make an offer. Providing it to the buyer after they make an offer is not timely. Right. At that point, in my opinion, you as the seller owe that buyer $500.
But you still have to disclose the material facts regardless.
Well, that's the problem in this case, right? But let's get that straight.
Okay.
You're going to get advice. There are going to be people that get advice. I'm telling you the advice of myself, my company, the attorneys we work with. That document needs to be provided. This person was told, don't fill it out. Pay the $500. This way you don't have to worry and you don't have to disclose. That is not the case, to your point. No. That does not obfuscate you of your obligation to disclose something that would be a material fact. So they thought, we don't have to tell about something. If we don't fill out this form, they paid the $500, and
so they thought it was
they thought they were safe.
Yeah.
They thought it was, I paid $500 in lieu of disclosing something. And now they're in a lawsuit. After the closing, house closed fine. They moved out. Everything was happy. But 2 months later, they get a lawsuit. Now, a lot of people don't have the money to go through with the lawsuit. Apparently, this person did.
Well, it depends, too. How damaged were you, in what form, when you want to go and move forward. I
or
mean,
how
if it's
mad you are, and how much money you're willing to
vindictive,
spend
yeah.
to go after it, and maybe collect nothing. And to some people, it's a matter of principle, and to some people, but all in all, it's breaking the law.
Yeah.
I think that there really needs to be clarity on it. I've gotten clarity on it. I'm
Right.
From DCP, the Department of Consumer Protection.
But we need to get that out to the general public and to the entire industry to make sure
The
that
industry needs to come together on that. Look, disclosure is an important part of this business, and everybody should be disclosing, and they should be disclosing everything. In fact, we have an obligation as licensees to disclose something, even if you, the seller, don't.
Right.
So if I have knowledge of a material fact, and you don't disclose it,
your agency relationship doesn't
protect that, right? I'm obligated to disclose it because the license law requires that I disclose it. So this is another situation. I don't know what this is going to be. What is the outcome? What do you think is going to happen to me? Do you think I'm going to I have no idea. Yeah. I don't know. I do know what town the house is, but I don't know where they're being sued. I don't know if they're going to arbitration. I don't know what the situation is. I don't know how much it's going to cost her. I know it's just not the right thing. And I think it'll probably end up that it'll cost this person more money than if they had just handled it and taken care of it up front.
And been transparent about the whatever issue it was. I mean, we've heard stories where they've come and talked to neighbors, they've called companies and used that against the person who decided not to disclose a material fact.
No, that's so true. That's we've had neighbors come to the house while we are doing home inspections and say they get water in the basement or they do this and they do that. It's and we've all had it. And if you're an agent, you've had it happen to you.
Yeah.
Or they tell you that the neighbor came over after they moved in and said, oh, yeah, they used to get I don't know, water in the backyard, and the backyard always got soft and nobody did it, or the driveway was failing, whatever the case might be. So honesty is the best policy. Disclosure is required by law.
In life, too, not just in real estate. Honesty is the best policy.
Yeah, agreed. And this is life. So for the second one, disclosure, and what we always say is disclose, because believe it or not, someone's going to know. Someone's going to find out. The neighbor, a contractor that the new buyer calls is going to say, I was out here last year. Another unfortunate situation. This one ended up in a lawsuit, and we'll keep everybody up to date. And I've asked this person to keep me up to date. So let's take a quick break. We're going to come back with our last topic, which isn't a tragedy. It's more of a question. And we'll be right back.
See you soon.
All right, we're back. So
let's bring a little positivity here for this last
I don't know if
segment.
it's positivity, but it's definitely not a tragedy yet.
Okay.
I'm going to try and turn it to positive. But someone asked me my opinion on what I thought the role of AI was going to be in real estate in the future as we go forward and as AI starts to evolve, right?
Do you use AI a lot?
Yeah, I do. We do. We use it
every
day. All day.
I'm not, it's my best friend.
Yeah, I think it's a little more than your best friend. You have a relationship with it, but
I'm we're it's touch and go.
You're close. Yeah, you're. Let's say we'll just say you're close. So there's people that think that AI people will start to search for properties on AI. They'll go to Chat or Claude or whatever your platform or preference is, and you'll say, "Show me homes in New Haven and with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms and so on and so forth." That's possible. Zillow already has an integration with ChatGPT. Yep. I think Realtor.com will have one really soon, and all the others. And so I don't think that's very far out, and I think that's probably something people will do. People will continue to use Chat as kind of like a search platform. My hope for AI for this industry is that we can make smarter buyers and smarter sellers, smarter agents. We should be using the data that's at our exposure, right? We have this data. Jake likes to say this. Jake likes to say this data is siloed in the inboxes of realtors all over the country, right? So in our inboxes, we do so much through email. We have all the data on all offers, even the offers that don't get accepted. And today, our information is so static. We know when a house sells, we know how much it sold for, and we know on the day it sold for, and we even know what kind of mortgage, if you really go and dig deep, and maybe even how much they put down.
It's public records.
And it's all public record. You can find that out. But if we start to utilize all the data, all de-identified and pseudo anonymized. Like, we're not looking to know that Mr. and Mrs. Jones are working with Mary the realtor and they're buying a property. But if we start to take this data and data on viewings and tours and showings of properties and searches and people that are interacting with their searches and offers that are coming in, I think we'll be able to start predicting the market. The market right now reacts very slowly to upturns because we're rear-facing in our valuations, and very slowly to downturns in the market. Now, if you're in the market every day, you might know that the market has started to turn down. But
Well,
if
you get little like cues. You can see little cues, but it's not reliable.
it's certainly not reliable, but you might have an advantage over someone, another agent who maybe is not as active in the market. Might just know the last time they sold a house or represented a buyer that things were going over asking price. So my hope is that AI, we can start to use it for decision support, true data-driven decision support, because today I feel like our information is stale. I feel like it's rear-facing. We're looking back. This house sold, and largely anecdotal, right? What people know about the marketplace, but we should be able to give a lot more data than we do today.
What about so you're thinking in AI, people are going to use it for searching, which I do think it'll help. Are you thinking they're going to be pulling from the images? Are you thinking it's going to be purely data driven from the property listings? How are you seeing that?
Yeah, so the industry thinks, that's a little bit of a segue, but the industry, the world today and technology relies a lot on computer vision, right? So all of your images, my son was in the car with me the other day, and it said someone sent a picture with a dog on a leash or something like that. And they said, I didn't realize that it was like looking at your images like that. Of course it is. And people are looking at those images all the time. They're scanning those images. In our industry, we scan those images. We scan it for data validation, right? We want to know there's hardwood floors or there's the industry believes that that AI will watch what I'm looking for in a house. And if I start to spend more time on houses that have a nice kitchen, that it's only going to serve up me houses with nice kitchens. The problem is we don't have that kind of inventory.
True.
Right? If we were looking for a baseball hat and I start to hone in on New York Yankees baseball hats, and then I start to hone in on blue New York Yankees or white.
It's not Amazon. You don't have all of the different options out there to choose from. You have limited options. So how much benefit can AI really give by looking through those pictures?
Right. And it could maybe return some results from other parts of the country, but it's rare that someone is just looking anywhere in the country.
Right.
And so we really, first of all, they want to see everything that's in their price range or that's in their wheelhouse that hits their wish list. They're going to look above their price range, maybe for ideas, maybe for dreams, maybe hoping that price will come down. They're going to look below, maybe it could be something that could be improved. So I don't necessarily see AI and machine learning and computer vision having the type of impact that it's had in other things. Again, if I'm looking for a car, if I'm looking for a faucet for my house or furniture for my house, I think AI and computer vision has a place.
It just might not be that.
I don't think it's going to be for search. It's also kind of a waste to be using AI for search.
We've had some clients who have used AI to help them really understand inspection reports and what that means for them in the future as far as like contractors and updates and things like that. I think it's a great tool to be able to do that.
I think that's a great idea. I didn't know we had anybody that was doing that, but I think that's perfect. I mean, I use it for myself, right? I use it when my dog goes to the vet and or blood results or whatever the case might be. It's an incredibly powerful tool. And I think it'll have just as big a presence in the real estate industry as it has in everything else. I just think it'll be, and I hope it'll be more on the data side. I hope we'll be able to make smarter buyers, smarter sellers. And look, in 2026, we should be making decisions based on that.
Absolutely.
So
no real predictions, just kind of watching out for it.
Yeah, no real predictions, just a lot of hope.
I think all industries are. I think the medical industry, the attorneys, they're really looking to see where we're going in the next decade with AI because it's advancing so quickly too. The more data we put in, the faster it's going to advance and improve. But it's still at the early stages. I see it like I have to push back on AI all the time because it's not accurate.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that you're fight with AI. Anybody
Little
surprised?
argumentative, though.
Anybody
so.
here surprised that Steph is arguing with AI?
I get mad when it gives in to me. If I tell it not to give in to me, it should listen. But
So you fight with it and then tell it not.
no, I tell it. I get disappointed when it doesn't fight back with me when I tell it, because I want to go. I want it to push me to the next level and improve, and it kind of just gives in on me sometimes, and I get a little frustrated with
I am not surprised. Anyway, so 2 unfortunate stories we covered today. A little bit of what
realistic
potential AI
things that are going to happen to
they're
you,
going to happen.
And ways to avoid it, and try to be the better buyer and seller.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap up this show. We're going to ask people to continue to contact us. Do not be afraid to contact us through the For Real at WTNH.com, or stalk me, track me down, talk to me in the grocery store. Hit me up on LinkedIn, Michael Barbaro on LinkedIn.
And we'll get you on social media too, so people.
Yeah, we're going to have to get me on social media so people can do this, and hopefully some other people can benefit from it. So it's been a great show. Thank you, Steph.
My pleasure.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.